first thing I would do, position the patient, of course. So back flat, just like a chest x-ray. Obviously, she'd be turned around for her chest. And then again, 1.5 inches above the top of the shoulders with the IR, exactly like a chest, okay? So when I do 1.5 inches above the top of the shoulder, I know she's going to fit because she's very short-waisted. But if you want to guarantee that she's going to fit, feel the top of her iliac crest, which is right here, which the bottom of the IR is at the top of the iliac crest for her. So I know she's going to fit on one IR, but it doesn't tell me I'm going to be able to see all 12 ribs on the one IR. It may, if she had large pendulous breasts that hung down, or Dolly Parton, she then would have to have 2 separate techniques to where I might actually have to change the technique, keeping her upright, okay? So she can fit all on one IR because she's short-waisted. So I keep that 1.5 inches above the top of her shoulder. Make sure you guys realize this is the top of her shoulder, not if it was hung down, her shoulder goes pretty straight. But if it was really, really far down like this is not the top of her shoulder. Her shoulder is ending here. This is where her ribs are coming from. I'm gonna do the left side, so I divide her body in half from side to side. So I can go jugular to side or sternum to side and move over to your right. Perfect. And I'm at T7 by placing 1.5 inches above the top of her shoulder. All I did was align my tube and bucky. I'm on her left side. Left marker will stay in the light field above the top of her shoulder like a chest. For all x-rays, I never touch the marker, okay? Her arm goes away from the side just so no fat touches fat. Again, she'd be changed from the waist up off, the gown ties in the back, and then shielding right here in the front, done on inspiration, 40-inch sit. Come back in, change out the cassette. I don't touch the marker because I'm still x-raying her left side. Now I'm gonna go 45 degrees in both directions. So either oblique you can do first, it makes no difference. So I'm gonna do an LPO first. And I'll show you how I do my 45 degrees with my hands when I get on that side. Okay, so when I oblique her at 45 degrees, see how the centroid comes over here. I need it to still be on this side. So move to the right towards me. Perfect. And again, I'm still dividing her in half. Side to side. Kyle is not the beam coming in, dividing her in half where the centroid would be on her nipple. This is not the beam this direction. The beam is coming straight here. So my hands have to be perpendicular to my beam, not just like that knee when we were doing the knee. Again, arm out to the side, still 1.5 inches above. She hasn't changed height. Would this elongate or foreshorten her left ribs? Elongate. So they're going to be long on that IR. So you can collimate down side to side slightly, but you can't collimate down really, really small because you're going to elongate. On foreshorten, we're going to be able to collimate a lot more. Okay, so inspiration again, same shielding, everything applies. Go ahead and put your back against the board. I now have to do the other oblique. So now I'm going to have her go that way. So now watch what's going to happen. See how much light field you have here? Well, when she goes the other direction, that light field's going to decrease because now you have sod where this shoulder is going to get really close to this. You guys are going to want to move up the IR so you have the same amount of light field. Well, she didn't change size, so you don't have to change the IR placement. So you got to get that out of your mind of always looking at that, okay? So I'm going to rotate her to her right side. See how you have no light field or barely any? Most of you guys say, oh crap, now I don't have 1.5 inches above the shoulder anymore. Again, she has not changed size. So now, how I do 45 degrees and how I do it for cervical spine, anytime I do 45 degrees, if you make your hand in an L, put your pinky against the bucky, this is 45 degrees. So what I do is I place my hand 45 degrees like this against the IR. My thumb then touches her vertebral border of her scapula when she's at a perfect 45 degrees. So I've always done it. You can do it any way you want to. Some of you guys learn to match your feet with my feet, look up at the sky, however you want to do it. It makes no difference to me. If you already have a good 45, keep with it. But if you don't, that's just another way to do it. We don't bring the sponges in to stick behind them to make sure they're 45. So you have to get something. That to me is always a perfect 45. Again, her arm has to be off to her side. And now I'm x-raying this side, so again, I have to make sure I'm in the middle of the anatomy, which I am. And this is going to elongate or foreshorten? Foreshorten, which means I can collimate down side to side slightly even further.
Will we get points marked off for not collimating on the foreshortened side?
If it's open as much as all the rest, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So even showing your doctor 1 inch is better than nothing.
Gotcha.
Of his shoulder, and now I have to feel the iliac crest. His iliac crest is down here, which his bottom of the IR here is higher than his iliac crest. So I can tell you right off the bat, he is too long torsoed for 114 by 17. So I know for sure I have to do 2 14 by 7, or I'm sorry, 2 IRs, 114 by 110 by. But I can check to see if I went to 72 inches, if he would fit. This is how you can tell. If I take my hand and put it at his iliac crest, and if the bottom of the IR is just barely skimming the top of his crest, then I can take it back to 72, which will decrease the magnification of his ribs and fit them all on one. That is when, here's the iliac crest, here's the bottom of the IR. You're a half inch away. You can do that. But for him, I wasn't. So here's 1.5 inches above the top of his shoulder because of divergence. Here's his iliac crest. Here's the bottom of that IR. I'm farther than a half inch away. Therefore, I know I have to do top and bottom at 40 inches. He has nothing to flatten and widen. His chest is actually the exact same as his belly. Therefore, I can do him all erect. I don't have to lay him down to do, but I have to do upper and lower. So this is how you would do it. So we're going to do the same thing with your left side just because it'll make it easy. And again, dividing him in half side to side, arm off to the side, collimating side to side, marker in the light field, and then never change it. I'm at T7 on him. Inspiration, shield, change from the waist up, same as Zasha. Take a breath in, hold it, beat. Now I'm gonna grab the 10 by right behind you. And then we're gonna do the lower. So I'm gonna do upper and lower while he's right here in the same position. I want to do least patient movement. Okay, now I take the bottom of this IR, 10 by 12, and go right to his iliac crest. Align those two. There's where the central ray would be on him. There's no exact central ray point because you place the bottom of the IR somewhere. Okay? I'm still dividing him in half. He hasn't moved. Well, the marker obviously wouldn't be seen there. So I'd have to put it here or here. That would probably be a better place because the left, the ribs, short, short, long, long, long. So down at the bottom. Now, I can't do them on inspiration because now these are lower ribs, so I do them on expiration. Okay? So take a breath in, blow it all out, hold it out, beat. Expiration, what's it going to do to the diaphragm?
It's going to push it up.
Bring it up, which means I'm going to be able to see more ribs because the diaphragm's going to go up. Now with him like this, change out your cassette. Now I do an oblique. We can just do this one, it doesn't matter. I stay right here because I have this one already centered. So I stay right here. Do that 45 degree. Come back in, change my cassette back to the 14 by. And now I've done the upper in that LPO. Then I come back in, I do an RPO if still is left side. I still have this centered, so I do this one. Come back in, then I do my lower. So I go upper, lower, lower, upper, upper, lower. So I'm always staying with this, rotating him 3 times, only having to change the cassette out 4 times. Makes it a lot easier for you. Instead of doing upper, 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 lower, lower, lower. I can't move my patient 6 times. They're injured. I have to have the least patient movement. Okay?
Cool.
Okay. If there was something for him to flatten and widen, that's when I put him on the table. If I did him like this upright, I lay him on his back on the table. If he was PA upright, then I have to put him prone on the table. However you do it here, you have to do it on the table if there's something to flatten and widen, okay? So he was about the only one that was tall enough to fit where I was thinking would be 72. If he's not 72, nobody else is gonna be 72 in here. You're all 40, whether you have to do upper and lower or not. And you are who you are during a comp. So if you get Devin, Devin is who he is. If you get Ashley, Ashley is who she is. We're not gonna, everybody is, no, you are who you are, okay?